We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Utica-centric podcast, finally. We get back to them. Feels like it's been forever. It's Keeper's Corner podcast. Matt, Brandon here.
It's been forever.
Brandon, it's been a long off season.
It always is.
No. And we do have a lot of talk about. I mean, for we always do these little cold opens lately. They're better than just kind of awkwardly shoving right into it. And it feels like it's been 10 years since we've been able to talk about this, and I just have to say, oh, LA Galaxy, LA Galaxy, LA Galaxy, LA Galaxy. Oh, LA Galaxy, LA Galaxy, LA Galaxy.
Why am I here?
Finally.
Why am I here?
Oh.
I had no warning. I dealt with that just like you all did. It's fine. It's fine. We'll get there.
Look. You know my brother. You've met him. You know how obnoxious he can be at games, just like me. He's a Red Bull.
About him.
He's a Red Bulls fan. So I have bragging rights once again. Yeah, I got to catch.
Aren't you special?
Look, I've said it before to other people. I'll say it again. When it comes to my sports teams, there's a weird split in who I support. You have the traditional powerhouses, the Yankees, Man United, LA Galaxy. Yeah, even at one point in time, Syracuse basketball could be considered a powerhouse in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And then right around the time I got into and graduated college, pretty much all of those teams just fell apart.
Yep.
And I've said, as an adult, my punishment has been watching these teams suffer. This ignores the fact that I also support the Tennessee Titans and the Orlando Magic, who have traditionally been on the trash side of their leagues.
I was going to say ass end of the league.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, oops.
But
you had one slip last week.
I win. But for LA to win their first title in 10 years, the first to 6 in MLS, and the game-winning goal was celebrated with the goal-scoring celebration of my favorite player from my teenage and early adulthood, Robbie Keane's scoring machine. It just was a little extra special.
Yeah.
And Keane was in there, in the stadium for the game. So nice. He had to feel the love.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Plus, coming just over a month after the Yankees completely embarrassed themselves on the national stage.
Maybe a little. Just a little.
Just a little, yeah.
It's all right. I love watching the Yankees lose.
I've taken I don't even want to say a sick pleasure, but just that I'm not happy I have to say I told you so, but I'm going to say it when it comes to Yankees fan groups and stuff about no, my worst fear was that they would make the World Series, go up against an actual competent team and not one of the teams from the AL Central, which is a joke division,
mm-hmm.
and then show all their flaws, and then Juan Soto would leave in free agency. And boy, did that play out like every nightmare I could ever imagine. So it's nice to wash that taste from my mouth with the title for the LA Galaxy. Congratulations to them. They do have ties to indoor just because LA's Landon Donovan
Yeah.
did spend kind of part of a season with San Diego. But seems like everybody spends all the big names end up in San Diego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is fitting. We bring up San Diego since they're one of the teams Utica plays this weekend, and boom, we've just segued into indoor soccer.
You spin that however you need to.
I
there,
absolutely will. But before we start talking Utica, we got a lot to run through tonight. We're going to go over the final roster, or at least as final as it is right now. We'll give our expectations, some bold predictions for what we think will happen this season. And then we'll talk the 2 games that are coming up Friday and Saturday.
Sorry, you said you were running through them, so I was trying to run.
Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, please remember, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you never miss an episode on YouTube. If you are catching this at a later date on Spotify, leave us with a 5-star review. And I have to say 5-star just because that's what we currently are rated, and we don't want to see that go down to like 4.75. We want to stay a 5-star program.
Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe.
Am I doing it? Am I a YouTuber now? Did I do it right?
Did I do it? Am I winning?
All right. So Utica's final roster, or at least as final as we have. The one player hasn't officially been announced, but he's on the transactions page, so it's official.
If you're talking about the one that I think you're talking about, he's on the roster page now too. So
yeah. Well, once he goes on the transactions, he's on the roster. Just the team has not announced him, is what I mean.
So it's officially unofficial.
Yes, or unofficially official, whichever way you want to look at it.
Officially, unofficially, official.
Non-officially, officially, official, unofficially.
All right, my brain hurts. I don't want to play this game anymore.
Well, okay. Let's talk roster. You and I both agree that you start building a roster from the back, so that's where we'll start, and then we'll work our way forward.
Yes.
Also, because there are the fewest players in the back, and then it gets a little heavy as we get towards the front.
Like me. Listen, I earned this gut. All right.
I mean, there was a rare self-burn there where you were just like, I don't have a backside, but I do got a. You have kudos.
I don't got the dumpy, but I got the fupa.
Yeah. There's a small window of people that are going to understand that listen to this show, and
that's fine.
For those who don't bother looking it up. It's not worth your effort.
It's for them. It's for the ones that know.
So start at the back. Goalkeeper. We know who's starting for Utica. Mr. Andrew Coughlin, a.k.a. Mr. Stretch.
Yep. Fafa Godoy.
Now.
Yes, Mr. Stretch. The one, the only. We love him.
Look, he was 12-3-1 last year, 5.28 goals allowed against. His .715 save percentage was the career best. He's solid. He's one of the league's best, I think, just because of injuries and missed games. He doesn't get put up there as often as some other players.
Right.
But he's a fantastic security blanket that we love to have back there.
Oh, yeah.
We finally know his backup because unofficially there are still like 2 or 3 other guys that are on like the practice squad at goalkeeper, but because they're not announced and because the audio for the video that I got of all the team being introduced was not the best, I couldn't quite catch names for every player. But this one was clear and easy. He was the first, second player announced, but the first new one, just because of the way Tommy worked left to right.
Mm-hmm.
Babukar Cisse. No relation to the Strykers, Israel Cisse. Completely
Yep.
different spelling on the last name.
Yep.
Babu is 26, hails
Babu.
from the country of Gambia, and played at Bryant and Stratton College, which, if you've heard us talk about that before, last time probably was with Momo. So it's been a while.
We go from Momo to Babu.
Yeah.
And my brain was like, hey, I have a chant for you when it comes to Babu. Hey, Babu, I want to be like you. That's all I got. It's a start of something.
You can work on that one. I don't know if the song about a chicken or an orangutan trying to be more like a human.
I want to save like you.
Yeah, you could work with
Dive like you too.
So it'll be his first year in the league, and we'll have to see what we get.
That's all you can look at is, if we don't have anything else to judge him off of, so we got to judge him by what we see when he's actually out there.
Yeah, what did I put in our chat last night? His last year at Stratton, he had like 7 games started with over 800 save rate and less than 1 goal allowed per game. So,
still,
very different,
totally
outdoor
different
to indoor, we know. But some promise.
Yeah.
Let's talk deep.
And I mean, all I was going to say, sorry,
go ahead.
Touch on this because it applies.
Yeah.
Is given how much we typically saw our backup, we didn't see Wilkin all that much. We did for some seasons. Yeah, I was going to say he played 8 games last year. I forget how many games we had in 2021. I know that Andrew played 15 of them, and then he played 17 in the 2019-2020 season.
Yeah.
And then I mean his first season with us, he played every single game. So basically.
Yeah, I think they were subbing him in late in a lot of those too.
Yeah. So we'll see, how many times we actually see him go out there. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a few, whether it's starting or like fourth quarter. I could definitely see a few of them that will most likely, see him get some minutes in.
Yeah. There's a weekend towards the end of the season where it's like a road game at Baltimore on Saturday, and then Sunday you come back and play in the afternoon at home against Harrisburg. So yeah, there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yep.
Let's see what we get out of him as the season goes.
Yep.
Moving forward, we have our defenders, and this is something that you and I will both agree on as being a little thinly staffed at the moment. Jace Berger, Logan Roberts, Wanda Lava, and Nelson Santana. Those are our defenders.
See, you say thinly, you say it's thin. It's still one more than we had for the entire season last year. Well, let me rephrase that. We didn't have all these guys. We had
every one of them played for Utica as a defender last year.
Right, except for one of them. Except for one of our defenders.
Who?
Barbaro?
No. So, I don't know if you saw. He's listed as a defender online, but he was announced as a target forward, and Tommy responded to our post on Instagram for the pod saying that no, he's a forward.
Okay, all right.
So yeah.
So yes.
So we have 4 defenders.
Technically, we are slightly thinner than we were last year. For most of the season. Actually, no, we're about on par with what we were most of the season last year. And then I think DJ came on later on.
DJ gave us 1 game, the final game of the year.
Right. But he was still on the roster.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying how many games he played. I would have loved to see him play more. But I'm just saying on the roster, he was on there for, a decent chunk of the season, but just not at first. So we're basically right where we were last year.
Yeah. We'll start with the youngest and work our way up with Jace. It's his sophomore season. He only played in 10 games last year, but in those 10, he had 4 goals and assist coming out of the back. Very fast. We saw good chemistry with him and Cole Stevens. Um, Obviously, going to be counted on quite a bit more this year.
Yep.
So, hoping he takes a step in year 2.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely, if we want to be a fast, offensive heavy team, we need those defenders that are going to be able to get back quickly and effectively. And, I think it was Coach Everton that basically said that, they're rookies for a few years, even though it is his sophomore season, as you said, which I agree with. Yes. But he's a rookie for a few more years, or for at least a couple years. So that being said, I'm definitely looking to hopefully see more than last season. Not to say he did bad last season, but obviously, we expect to see more, and I'm sure we will.
Number 2 on that list would be the Prince, Wanalava. Coming off, I think we would easily agree that this was his best season of his career so far last year.
No question.
He made the switch ahead of the season from a midfielder to a full-time defender.
And he excelled.
And he was even better on offense coming out of the back than playing in the middle. Yep. His 5 goals and 7 assists were career highs. He also had 29 blocks, another career high.
Yep. He was... Moving him to defense was a fantastic move, and it absolutely paid off. And so, even if he stayed consistent just like that all season, that's all we need from him. Like, obviously, we always want to see more, but we also don't want to see him push it and get hurt.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we get another 10 points out of him out of the back and he can block 30, 35 shots.
Yeah,
so
he's
we'll
absolutely
take that every day.
He's absolutely a beast in the back. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, we know the blocks are hooey, they're so random. Hey, this guy that, who was it I was looking at? I think Nestor Hernandez down in Dallas had like 50 blocks last year after never having more than like 32. Like, there's just someone that doesn't really know the stat.
Yeah.
I don't. He's been in the league for too many years for that kind of jump to happen. But yeah, like you mentioned with these guys being rookies for a few years, it finally looked like he was up to speed with the game and not just, trying to process everything as it was happening. He could look that half step to step ahead.
Yep. Agreed. He definitely, his predictions were much better. And that's what made his blocks that much better. I mean, he had some great saves last season. I mean, there was some that those goals
took it right off the line.
Yeah, took it right off the line. Like, they would have been heartbreakers, and he kept us out of the abyss. So, no, look forward to seeing him on defense more this season for sure.
Our third defender we're going to talk about, Man of Steel, Logan Roberts. I think we've talked about him enough in the preseason. We'll keep it quick and summed up. Coming off his first healthy season since like 2018, 2019. It's his best. This was finally the Logan that I was expecting back in 2019, 2020 when we first started doing the podcast and was hyping him up. And before last season was resigned to, okay, this is just going to be an injury player, someone that's out there that is solid when they're out there, but is going to pull a hamstring or roll an ankle or just a soft tissue injury that'll cost him some time. And then he played 23, 24 games last year, and I was very happy to be proven wrong on that.
Yeah. I mean, he technically played 25 games total last season.
Yes. Playoffs.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he made it.
Playoffs.
He made it 25 games. He made it a full season with playoffs and stayed healthy. Honestly, that's all I ask from him this season. stay healthy, and if you can keep yourself healthy and not overexert out there, you'll produce. Like, we've seen it. Last season shows he stayed healthy, and look what he did. Like, had is literally a career season. So that's all I can ask. That's all I can ask from Logan.
Yeah. That brings us to our final defender.
Nelly.
I think you guessed that. Brandon, what can you tell us about Mr. Nelson Santana?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Nelly joined us last season after being with Baltimore for a while. And I mean, yes, he is on the slower side. He's also on the older side. I mean, he's doing the math in my head. He was born in 78, so he is 30. He's 45 going on 46. No. Yeah, he's 45 going on 46. December 28th.
28th, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Don't you give me that look. I'm like, I know how old I am. He's exactly 10 years older than me, but he hasn't had his birthday yet this year.
No, I have a typo. That's why I was confused. I'm like, oh, no, I hit the wrong.
I know what I'm talking about.
And obviously, the autocorrect isn't going to catch that I put the wrong number there.
But yeah, I mean, he is a very physical player. We saw that with like Riyad Marquez last season. He's a very physical guy, but he is on the slower side. So, I mean, while we see him, push up like we normally would do for our defenders, he's going to be one of those ones that hangs back a little further. Just because he is slower to get back, but when he gets back, he's solid. And he does a good job in the back, and I look to see more of the same from him as well. Maybe keep it away from the front of the goal.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be the man mark kind of guy. We go up against St. Louis, you're going to stick him on Tayu. We go up against Kansas City, you're going to stick him on Riyad Marquez. We go up against. No, actually, Tacoma's the only team we don't play this year. I was going to say you'd match him up against Steph, but
yeah, you put him up against. We play against Harrisburg. He's going to be marking like Dos Santos.
Well, Dos Santos is a defender.
But watching that game the other day, he was right up there.
Yeah,
so...
I didn't get a chance to watch. I was trying to. Yeah.
I got my information.
I was able to listen to, like I said, less than 5 minutes of it, and then good. I don't need to see the replay.
Yeah, no, I watched a little bit of it, and yeah, I mean he may be a defender, but he pushes up, so he pushes up pretty far even up to the corner, so.
And that's our defense, as things stand at this point, which should tell you the plan is to run like a 1-2-2.
Yeah. Yep. Couple of lines.
Yep.
I had to do that math in my head, but yeah, basically 2 lines. It makes sense.
So let's get to our midfield.
Yeah.
Midfield, pretty much all returners. Pretty much, they are all returners.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not much different from where we were at last season.
Manuel Belliard,
difference.
Gio Alves, Nilton De Andrade, the return of Nate Bordeaux.
Yes.
So we didn't have him last year, but he is 14 months removed from playing any soccer, but he will be back. And Ricky Orozco.
Yeah, I think the only real change to our midfield is that we just don't have Damon Alzon. That's basically really the only change. Our midfield has not changed at all, with that one exception. So, there's not much to say.
Yeah, we'll talk. Each one here. Belliard, second year. He's probably one of the more technical players on the team. at least from last year.
Yep.
That said, I don't know, how would you rate his rookie year? He had 8 points in 19 games.
I mean, I would say it's a bit of an underperformance. Whether he's getting additional points from goals or even just assists. I mean, that's kind of what you kind of look to the midfielders for, is those opportunity makers.
Yeah.
And yes, we may have a good bit of opportunity makers. It just didn't seem like we really got much out of him in that regard. So obviously we want to see more. I know last season he definitely played a lot more, and we started to see that improvement. I mean, we definitely saw a big jump in his numbers, so I would like to see, again, if it's more in the assist column, totally fine with it.
Yeah.
But points are points.
Yeah, but we obviously hope he takes a big step forward this year. Is a little more used to the physicality of the league. Even a step to like 15 points would be in the right direction.
Yeah.
We don't expect anybody to blow up like Nilton did and go from 20 points one year to over 40 the next.
No, we don't expect those kind of things.
Next up, though, that feels like a good chance to talk about Nilton de Andrade, who was team MVP last year.
Oh, yeah.
Might have happened if the voting was done a little differently at the end, since Frank ended up with the most points.
Right.
But he had 4 game-winning goals, 41 points on 26 netted, 15 assisted. I remember watching the last time we had a preseason scrimmage, and they did the Team USA versus Team World. That was one of those where it's like, no, you got to sign this guy, where it is obvious that he has the talent to play.
And guess what? Here he is.
Yeah. Do we think he can do that again? Can he repeat as a top, not just goal getter, but scorer for this team?
I think he has to. Personally, because, I think while we do seem to have a pretty strong front line, I think that, he's going to be one of those ones that we're kind of expecting to produce. Not just we as the fans, but as the organization. So I guess I can't really say we because we're not part of the organization. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
yeah.
We expect to definitely see more from him. Although, I mean, 26 goals is nothing to scoff at.
No.
That
was a fantastic season.
Yeah, I mean, you're still looking at, a 2 point per game average. So, I mean, absolutely fantastic. I think the one thing that he needs to work on is getting his shots on target. Because, he had 100 of them. And only was able to sink 26 of them, which is decent. That's still a quarter of your shots. But, get tricky with it. Get tricky with it. Get some more accuracy behind those shots, and he'll be a beast.
Yeah, if you can turn that into, even 30% efficiency, where you shave off 10 of those shots and make those an extra pass to somebody coming down the other side.
Exactly.
As we saw, he's not afraid to make that pass.
No, he's not.
Yeah, no. Hopefully we see big things out of Nilton this year.
That's the hope. I mean, and it's not like... sorry, I just had one other thing. I mean, he definitely keeps himself busy. I mean, the TST, I know it's been a little while since TST, but, he definitely seems to keep himself busy. So, I mean, between his season here and then his off season doing TST and whatever else he gets into... What?
Not you. Just...
It's like, what did I do?
No, our neighbor ran, there is living in an apartment, and it's, there challenges just from being able to hear your neighbors at times, but sometimes it's like, are you just moving all your furniture again every day?
Yes, they have to reorganize every single day.
I know he's getting it. He told me his TV crapped the bed and he'll be getting a new one, but I don't think it was dropped off today. So, let's see. Our next defender or next midfielder we'll talk about is another third-year player, Gio Alves. First thing to note, his number changed this year. He will be wearing number 7.
Oh, lucky 7.
Mm-hmm. We saw it from him last year. He runs the half-field offense quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And when things have slowed down, 8 goals, 12 assists. Is this the guy that we would expect to take that role that Mo Ndiaye played last year? So, yeah, could we see him potentially be dropped into defense?
I
And given, that we only have 5 midfielders, are we looking at maybe a 1-1-3 kind of offense in lineup?
So part of me wants to say that he will be kind of offsetting Nate.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, basically Nate's going to definitely be a distributor for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just as he has been, as well as being his own, offensive, also being an offensive weapon. But I could kind of see basically, I could actually see Gio being sort of that distribution role, sort of that Mo that it can not only score by himself,
Mm-hmm.
but also make some great distributions. I know one thing that our team has always struggled with is, of course, just accuracy of passes sometimes. And who knows? Maybe he's the guy that's just going to have that laser targeting
Mm-hmm.
and just able to perfectly distribute from the midfield. I mean, he definitely excelled compared to his first season. He went up 17 points, and most of those were assists. So he already is kind of working as that distributor.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just see that number going up.
Yeah, I mean, if he leans into that, and like you say, with more time, more game, time on the field, more game action than he's had in past seasons. He's more familiar with, just like everyone else. As I say, like 5 different times, just to really drive home the same point, is if he turns into like a 10 goal, 15 to 20 assist kind of player consistently every year, that is a solid piece to have in the middle of your lineup.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about, I see how this is.
Yeah.
I hate it here. All I was thinking was like, initially I was saying like, oh, if Nilton's scoring more, maybe we'll see Gio being his distributor or something like that. But they're both midfielders, so it depends on if they'll even be on the field together. So who knows? But
I think
I can leave. I can go. I'll just leave the stream going and just.
All right, I'm gonna just drag this out. We'll go on to Ricky Orozco. Ricky only played in 3 games last year. Didn't find the net or get an assist in any of them. It was his first year playing indoor. He did have 6 games at M2 where he had 3 goals and 2 assists.
Mm-hmm.
But I think possibly the most intriguing thing about Ricky moving forward, he's kind of become Gordy's protege. Like, I don't know if you ever noticed, but if Gordy's around, Ricky's nearby.
I actually hadn't really noticed that.
Like, I popped out of the back of 72 at the home opener for the Comets and just happened to bump into him as they were walking by, and it's Gordy and his fiance and his fiance's son, and there's Ricky.
There's Ricky.
It's like, if you're gonna tag along with a veteran and try to learn from them and become close friends, great.
Yeah.
There's
Good pick.
nothing that can help a player adapt and learn the game more than another player who's done it before.
Yeah. No, it's just mentorship thing. It's
yeah, it very much appears to be a mentorship kind of thing, and one that's not just on the turf.
right.
It is outside of the games, outside of practice. And it's a good choice if you're Ricky. As a fellow not very tall man, if you're going to pick a player who's found success in the MASL, pick someone with a similar build.
Yeah.
And both Ricky, Gordy, and myself are all about eye level with each other. So
that's one way to, that's a good point. You find someone who's similar in stature to kind of mirror off of.
Yeah, if you're going up offensively against defenders who are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", or taller, they're 220-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 to 220, and you're a guy that's 5'7", 5'8", $165 to $180.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to talk to and learn from somebody that has been very successful, not just using speed, but body control.
Yep.
To succeed is a fantastic way to learn. So hopefully, if we see more of Ricky this year, we can see the steps that he's taken in the off season, and just outside of the little bit of game action we've witnessed.
See what he's learned from Double G.
Mm-hmm. GG3, game-winning Gordy Licious. We'll get to him later because we're still in the midfield. We got one last player.
Yeah.
Our captain. Oh, captain. Wherefore art thou, our captain? Nate Porto.
Coming back to the field.
Yeah, he is. If he starts this weekend, or not even starts, if he plays this weekend, it'll be the first time he's taken to the turf for Utica since the playoff loss against Milwaukee 2 years ago.
Yep.
It's been 14 months since he's played any soccer. Let's temper expectations early on.
Of course. Yes, you have to.
Please temper expectations. Yeah, we do have to ask ourselves what form he'll be in.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he's a set piece specialist.
Yes,
and we were missing that at times last year.
Mm-hmm.
That is easily a key piece of any MASL team. That Mo did his best, and there were moments where moments.
I caught that.
Where he absolutely succeeded, and there were other ones where you kind of were left your head shaking, and we'll never know if that was a decision from Mo or if that was the way the play was written up.
I mean, he had some head shaking moments for himself too. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally watching him shake his own head, like, oh man, we get down on itself too much. Anyway,
okay, we talked about it before. Back when Bo and Nate were the co-captains. As Bo was the emotional leader, Nate was that calming, level-headed presence.
Yes.
Kind of got a little bit from that Dylan last year, though at times his mouth got him in trouble.
Yes.
There was the double. I think it was the Milwaukee game where he got the double yellow.
That sounds correct.
But at this point in his career, Nate is going to be a distributor and a defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
Which, great, shore up that defense, help find our young, fast guys. Be there for set pieces and the half-turf offense.
And he's definitely one of those ones that has maybe not a laser, but a much better accuracy of his passes. At least he did. You know, obviously, as you said, we got to taper expectations. He may not come back in the form that we knew of him from a couple years ago. It may take some time for him to get back into that.
Yeah. To fellow Yankee fans, it's been a long time, but if you remember, Alex Rodriguez had hip surgery and then was a shell of himself for like half a season.
Yep.
Then he had hip surgery on the other hip and was a shell of himself for about half a season. Nate had both hips done, so if he struggles, we got to be understanding. And if he doesn't, just icing on the cake.
And something, I guess, to kind of bring up, not so much an on-field, not so much a player skill thing, but just a bit of a change from where he was. So I know that it was the case last season as well, but he wasn't on the field. He also will not be number 4 anymore. I know that changed last season.
Changed mid-season 2 years ago after the Ava Woods.
Right. For some reason, I thought it was...
Yeah, I think he changed it right at the end of the season there with, no, we're going to honor her.
Yes. Because I definitely remember that. But I was trying to look back to see when it changed, because I knew he changed to, 19 in honor of Ava Wood, but I couldn't find the specific time that it changed to 19, other than seeing last season, the full, seeing the roster from last season and seeing, of course, this season's roster.
I can't remember if it was a one-off, but I do know he wore it the game that they honored.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't remember if it was a one-off 2 years ago or if that tragedy occurred and then he stayed with number 19.
Right. But yes, he is definitely staying with 19 because 4 is taken by someone else now.
This gets to the probably the most exciting and easily the most loaded section of our roster. The forwards, the attackers, the strikers, whatever you want to call them.
Are you jumping the gun?
Am I? Am I missing a midfielder?
I mean, technically. Because, we actually technically missed a defender.
No. Oh, if you're talking about the inactives, they are a separate list.
Oh, fine. Fine.
They are inactive, and until they're active, yes, we will get to them, but...
Fine.
Our forwards. And we have a lot of forwards. And we added to our forwards. We have GG3, Gordy Gerson, Keaton Woods, Kelvin Oliveira, Ronaldinho, Denise, a.k.a. the real Ronaldinho, Isak Somau, Cole Stevens, Vinicius Dantas, and Barbaro Chelier. Whatever, when we meet him, if he speaks any English, we will get that corrected.
We will find out.
Otherwise, I will flounder my way through Google Translate to try to get it. Me llamo es Mateo Esterlina. Perdón, mi español es muy mal.
Yes.
I think I said my name is Matthew Sterling. Pardon or apologies, or that might have been French in the middle there, saying that
I don't know what you did.
Saying that my Spanish is very bad.
Yeah, it sure was.
Look, I remember the key important things that we had to learn in high school, like ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Puedo ir al baño, por favor, and no moleste los animales.
Oh, why am I here?
because you cannot tell a room full of teenagers that no moleste means don't bother and not immediately to have them take it the other way.
Oh, of course.
All right. But what should be stacked forward position, um, which I guess you could break it into, you have our runner forwards and our target forwards.
Right.
And our target forwards are going to be Kelvin, Vinny, and Barbaro.
Yes.
Kelvin, what does a full season look like for him? I mean, we only saw him for the 2 playoff games. He had 2 goals and an assist in the first one, and then got shut down at home in the second one.
Yeah.
But at the time, Tommy called him the most talented player he'd ever signed, with Frank Taiu on the team. So
Literally leading the team. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, would I love to see see him just shoot to the top of that roster, or even shoot to the as a heavy contender on the leaderboards. Obviously I'd love to see that. I think any Utica fan would love to see that. But I think we need more time with him. I think before I can really make a call. I mean, there was a few times that he looked great out there. He was very technical. He had great control of the ball, but I don't know. I need to see more before I can really get behind him as being that guy on our offense.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, which is, it was a great preview, but what does the full feature presentation look like?
Right. I mean, I would love to see him, be our, like, Marco Fabian. Go for that golden boot this year. Like, I would love to see him be that guy, but not enough information yet.
No, you don't talk not enough information. That's Barbaro. I mean, we've talked about it. Cuban defector. He's going to be the 3rd target forward. When I talked to him, your buddy there, Big Diamond, was singing his praises. Talking about, like, oh my God, wait till you guys see him. He is amazing. He was on the Cuban futsal national team before he defected. So he is used to playing a faster paced game on a smaller field. But the big difference is turf versus a hard floor. So the ball's not quite as fast, though it is fast. Right. And you have the boards and walls where it plays off of instead of going out and all the time.
Right. So there won't be as much disruption of play.
Right. Do we still get disruption? Yeah. Will there be as much? Yeah.
No.
But we'll have to see how he adjusts. But right now, it looks like we could have, as we've said, a 3-headed monster.
And absolutely could.
Until proven otherwise, the main head on that 3-headed monster, our focal point for our King Ghidorah target forwards, would be Vinny Dantas. Utica fans were very, very familiar with Vinny. He spent most of his career in Baltimore. Left for Tacoma.
Other side.
Went left for Tacoma, just like Nelly, Harrisburg and Baltimore.
Yeah.
Enemies turned friends, man.
Oh yeah.
Left for Tacoma for a few years, ended up in, being traded back to Baltimore, then Florida. Last year played in Texas and had one of the best years of his career.
Yes, he did. Had a fantastic season.
Career highs in assists and points per game over 18 games played. I would say that's the one concern. 18 games. Didn't watch enough of Texas to know if those were injuries or coach's decision or, conflict of schedule.
Right.
28 goals and 19 assists in a very similar style offense. Tatu ran a very fast run and gun team with Mendez, Morales, and Ortiz. And Dantas was kind of the Frank Taiu of that offense. In that,
agreed.
if he wasn't benefiting from guys going to cover the speed and leaving him in a one-on-one situation he could take advantage of, he was being double teamed and acting as a decoy and passing it off.
Yep.
That's why you saw the career high in assists. That's why career high in points per game. And if he can step in and even do, 20 goals and 15 assists, we get a 35-point season from him, I'd still say that's a successful trade.
Absolutely. Yes, that would 100% justify that. I think what I want to see from him is that heavy-handed offensive presence that I think we've kind of lacked a little bit. Yes, Frank is a very heavy presence in the front. He can definitely, throw himself behind, what he's doing up there. But I feel like a lot of people can also match him pretty well. Vinny makes me anytime I look at him, I think of Schindler. Like, I think of Schindler on the back line, and it's like we're literally taking Schindler and moving him up to the front now. So we've got that just big guy
bodied,
that's
physical. Yeah, it's Nelson Santana on offense.
Yes, that literally.
But as an offensive specialist instead of a defensive, but big body, physical, and not afraid to get under defender's skin.
And we obviously we hate when our guys, or when we hate when the other team will say mouths off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are, of course, going to be biased because we love it when our guys do it, but we hate when the other team does it. And it doesn't matter what the other team is. And I know that that's obviously the opposite for anybody else that's watching. They hate when our guys do it, and they love when their guys do it. That's just how it is.
All right, I'm gonna try to pick things up a little bit just because we're running a little long. And,
yeah, it's fine.
I'll
just shut up.
Our other runners, I'd say we'll put Keaton, 13-8 in 21 games last year. We know he hurt his knee, but I'd like to see a little more consistency out of him. There were a couple 5-game stretches where he didn't have a goal or an assist. But again, that was year 2. If he takes another step forward in year 3, we could have another Ronaldinho situation.
Yeah, I will just say one line. I'm looking forward to seeing him at full strength when he's not still kind of trying to nurse an injury and kind of playing it safe and stuff like that. I want to see full bore Keaton again within means.
Yeah.
But that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Ronnie started strong. He was an early MVP dark horse candidate. And then we kind of saw Nilton and Frank emerge, and he kind of took a back seat. Same kind of thing. Just give me that consistency.
Yes.
I'm not saying, be that MVP candidate the whole season, but just try not to. I mean, I can't even say try not to disappear. He had 31 points over 24 games. Very, very far better than I ever expected.
I mean, you look at the difference between his first 2 seasons and last season. There is no comparison.
Yeah.
You could combine both of his first seasons and multiply it by 4, and you still wouldn't have enough. You'd still have more points last season. Like, he did great.
Yeah, his question isn't even do we see more consistency? Is there still another level for him to reach?
Yeah.
Could he be a 40-point scorer? How does he fit into this offense now that it's been reshaped?
Right.
Cole Stevens, second year, 9 goals, 3 assists, 14 games. We saw him score mostly on the counterattack last year, if I remember correctly. Does he move up the depth chart? And I say that just because we don't. We had Keaton miss games with injury. We had the next guy we're going to talk about miss games with injury. We had both of the next guys miss games with injury. So do you maybe push him into games a bit more just to try to, you're going to, fans of other sports leagues will hate it, but it's a work management or workload management for some of the older players.
All I want to say is, I think he was. I don't want to say he's more of kind of plays on his emotions, or plays with his emotions potentially heavily affecting him. I saw it with Mo. I kind of felt like I saw it with Cole a bit too. If he gets down, if he gets hard on himself, then it seems it gets worse. Kind of snowballs a little bit. So I'm wondering, with certain other presences not being on the team anymore, if that changes anything for him. Having, we know there was some negativity on the team last year. If we see kind of a reverse of that, how does that change him?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's out there, but with me saying that, but it's like, that's just something I observed last season. I went back and I watched some of the old stuff, and I remember just some firsthand experiences that it just, there was him and a couple other people that just, they really let it get to him. So we'll see.
Isak. He missed half of last year due to that knee injury. His 9 points in 12 games were still a career best after that. But at this point, I think the question is going to be, will he be experiencing a breakout season like we saw from Ronnie in year 3, if fully healthy, or is this just going to be a kind of a depth piece? Because there's nothing wrong with depth pieces. Every team has a role player.
Nope.
Do we think he cracks that 1 point per game average?
I do. Okay. Actually, I think that he cracks that ceiling. Obviously him being the hometown guy, like, he's always going to have plenty of fans in Utica, and we're always going to be pulling for him, just like we pull for everybody, just like we pull for all the other guys. But I think, given the fact that he missed so much of last season and was still able to pull out 9 points, if he can keep that pace up, I mean, an 20 point season is still respectable. So I don't know. I think I could see him. He's always been consistent when he's on the field. So I could see him continuing that and just being able to do, more with it over an extended period, but not so much maybe having a huge glow up.
Yeah, I think even if he steps into like that Keaton level,
yes,
be a very good step forward.
Yep.
That brings us to the final guy we're going to talk about. Fan favorite. We already talked about him a little bit.
Yeah.
GG3.
Yeah. Double G.
I mean, he went from one that we love to heckle to one that we love to cheer. And I'm just going to talk about 2 seasons ago when he went for 22 points and 19 assists in 22 games. And then, unfortunately, last year was marred by injuries.
Yes, it was.
If I remember, it was a hamstring and an ankle at separate times. And it limited him to 11 games, which he had 10 goals and 4 assists. Obviously, from what we've seen over the past 2 years, he is our shootout specialist. He is our penalty kick specialist. Yeah, that's who you want. And he's a great one to find on set pieces.
Which, because of the changes to, like, goalkeeper blue cards, or goalkeeper shootout, penalty shots, that could come even more into play this season. Is his specialty for, just being able to finish those goals. So, yeah, we could absolutely see him getting more leverage this season.
The question is, does he stay healthy?
Yes. He kind of became our he took the injuries so that Logan didn't have to last season.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
That's a tough thing to ask in this league. We know how physical it is. We know how,
Yeah.
as you get older, your body doesn't want to do the same things anymore.
Or it protests a lot.
Oh, I mean, I'm an out of shape guy, and I don't know. Have you ever heard of Fillmore Glen?
No.
So this place is down in Moravia. Beautiful state park. Hike through it with waterfalls.
Okay.
And you'd think if your body was going to quit, it'd be like, well, you're hiking up through the gorge. But no, on my way down the hill, I had my quad cramp. Just
Ooh.
unbelievably bad. Yeah, yeah. So I'm got one leg held stiff coming down these stairs. It's like, man, I hiked a worse trail than this 2 years ago, and my body wasn't. I'm in better shape than I was 2 years ago. Why is it?
Sounds like you gotta stretch and hydrate more there, Chief.
I had a half gallon of water with me, and it was
Then
mostly gone at that point.
Then stretch. Take some advice from Mr. Stretch.
Stretch. But it's just something where, as your body gets older, though, the muscles just don't want it anymore.
No.
And if as anyone that's taken Boy Scout first aid or been through even basic, biology, anatomy kind of stuff will tell you, the soft tissue injuries are the worst because they never fully heal.
They don't.
Yeah,
Nope.
They're like rubber bands. Once you've stretched them so many times, they just don't have that elasticity anymore. Whereas you break a bone, it'll grow back.
Right. Yeah, it may heal, but it's never going to be as strong with those soft tissue with the soft tissue injuries.
So that's our assigned players. We do have one more on the active roster. That's the Murshad Ahmadi.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have a position assigned, but he did play midfield and forward down in M2, where, as we already mentioned, his 81 goals and 23 assists over 31 games at that level across 3 seasons averaged out to a 3.4 point per game rate. And we said it before, if he steps into that Chino role and can give us 25 points, be a smashing success of a signing.
I don't know if that's going to come in the first season, though.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I'm just going to be blatantly honest on that one. I don't know if we see it in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
It's still an adjustment. Regardless, it's still an adjustment coming up. So
yeah, I'll just say, with the players that he was around stats wise for point per game at that level included like Ricardo Diegues. So his ceiling could be very high.
Yes.
What his floor is, we don't know.
Right. That's what we'll find out.
That's the active roster. Then we have our inactives. Kervin Kenton and Darren Toby, both defenders. Christian Segura, and the latest victim of what we assume is the visa issues around the league, Rafa Godoy.
No.
And look, we do our best to keep certain aspects of life out of this show, but I'm gonna say it. Don't expect the visa issues to get any better for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
An election was held, and a person that is very America first, anti-immigrant, wants to deport millions of people, which, if you know any statistics about, roughly half of them entered the country legally and then just overstayed their visa.
Yep.
That guy is not going to be making it any easier for an obscure, barely staying alive at times league to get international players.
It will make it more difficult for sure to try and get some of these visa issues sorted out when, they're just going to get an influx of.
Yeah, no, it's very much going to be our America's better, we're going to have the American guys play. So, if you can still apply for it or are eligible, go for that dual citizenship.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate. It really is. And it's unfortunate that we have to talk about it.
Yeah, it would just be nice if, we could have a season that's just not marred with visa issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not, I don't mean that just for Utica either.
No.
Around the league, like, this league could be so much better if half of the players could play. There's so much talent that just has to sit because of, these visa issues.
Yeah. Last year's MVP, Genaro Castillo. The Rojo brothers. I mean, Milwaukee, luckily, Willie B turned out to be what he is for them because they lost Josh Lemos, and the season after that was kind of very un-Milwaukee-like.
Mm-hmm.
That is what things are at the moment. So we do what we can.
That's all we can do.
And hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And right now I'm planning to have possibly watched these guys dress for Utica for the last time. Or in Curvin's case, possibly never.
Yeah, that's true. God, why you gotta be down in the dumps?
Because reality isn't always this happy-go-lucky bubble that we can have.
When is it happy-go-lucky? Existence is pain.
I mean, I can think of a few happy-go-lucky things that happened recently that were then immediately ruined, but nothing that I want to say while recorded. That's the roster, active, inactive. There are other guys training with the team. I know Abdullahi Gadao is still hanging around. He was last year's second-round pick. If I remember correctly, he was either a midfielder or a defender, so maybe we see him break camp with the boys at some point, but otherwise we just wait and see.
Yeah.
Let's talk expectations, Brandon. What do we expect this season? Where do we think things go? I mean, do we expect Sogs? And to do this, I made a fun little game for us. It's over or under. I'm going to ask you simply, I'll give you a number, give you a stat, and you're going to tell me if it's over this or under that. Okay?
He doesn't tell me things, and then he just springs things on me. This isn't planned.
Oh, it's planned on my end.
Well, he is bullying me. No, it's fine. Hit me. Come on.
All right, last year Utica had 16 wins. So over this year, look at the schedule. I set the number at 14.5, over or under.
Ooh.
Yeah, I tried to make these difficult.
I know that, so similar to last year,
Mm-hmm.
I know that we have, we'll call it padding
Mm-hmm.
for some of our season because we have another 6 games against Harrisburg, which has been generally lower on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
That also being said, the way it stands, we have 2 games against the recently gutted Outlaws. So potentially there's some leeway there as well. So right there, you're talking, we'll say 8 games. We'll say just being positive thinking. Those are games that I would anticipate we should win. And then likewise, there's also a Dallas game. That's 9 games that we should win.
Mm-hmm.
So we have, and I'm working my way up, kind of up the list here of teams that we've had problems we've handled in the past,
Mm-hmm.
teams that we've gone back and forth with, and then teams that we've struggled with. So even if we split a series with Baltimore, that's still 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So we're up to 12. So where it comes down to is when it gets much more difficult, being the Milwaukee Wave, being, the Chihuahua Savage.
Yeah, did I want to make this as difficult as possible or what?
Well, you did and you didn't,
I
because if
did
you
and I
think about
didn't,
it,
but
if you think about it and you look at our track record
Mhm.
and you look at the numbers that I just broke down, we're already up to 12, which means we only have to win 2 of those games against Empire, San Diego, Milwaukee.
3 to go over.
3 to go over. St. Louis, Kansas City, which, I mean, we've done all right against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee, we also have
lately.
something. Milwaukee, we also have a positive in our court in that we don't leave our court. We play them at home. We do not play in Panther Arena. So another positive. And even the Chihuahua games are in Utica. So I'm going to say over.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm saying over. Okay. Like, I feel confident about this.
All right. Last year, the team scored 191 goals. We've retooled the offense, setting the over and under at 189.5.
Had to have that 0.5 in there too, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is like, I can't have a nice 190, because if it doesn't go, if they get to exactly 190, then they didn't go over or under. You got to have that half. Basically, is the offense as efficient as last year, or is it less efficient?
Optimistic me wants to say over, obviously. Mm-hmm. Want to be confident, want to be, just, yeah. But I also know we've lost a good bit of our known offense.
Yeah, we've 3 of our top Frank. 5 scorers.
Yep, we've lost Mo, we've lost Steve Fernandez. We also lost Taylor. Like, Frank. He didn't have as many numbers, but he did produce.
Yeah, and he also lost a big chunk of the season to having his first child.
Yeah. So I actually am going to go under on that one.
Okay.
I want to obviously be confident in the team, and I would love to see them prove me wrong. But as it stands, we had a pretty strong offense last season, mm-hmm. and I think we get close, but I don't think we pass it.
All right, so let's say if I were to change that to 174.5.
I would say over.
Okay. So you're thinking a little bit less efficient, but still one of the best in the league.
I'm thinking like a 175, 180 is where my head's at.
Okay. Goals allowed, over or under 149.5.
I might honestly lean to over. And here's why. Last season, mm-hmm. we had Wilkin to fall back on. And
Julian a couple times.
Don't call him. Don't scream it. Don't do it. Scott Sterling.
No relation.
Yeah. And Wilkin, I mean, he's stellar. But we don't have that presence anymore. We have Andrew, which Andrew can be scrappy. And because he can be scrappy, he can get blue cards, which means that he won't be on the field for those blue cards. Mm-hmm. So we don't know anything about our new backup. And, if Andrew goes out, Andrew gets injured, which it's happened, we're going to need to rely on him. So I'm going over on that one. Okay. I think we're more of a glass cannon this season, unfortunately.
Well, you brought up Andrew and his and my next one does relate to how often we see Babu. Over or under 4 games played? Not started, just played.
Over. No question.
Okay.
No question.
If it's played, started.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You're saying
No,
over?
I'm saying just games played. You're
Right.
taking
Just
the
games
over
played.
easy. So I'm trying to make it
Yeah.
a little more difficult for you now. Let's say, what if it started? Like, do we miss Andrew for 5 games? Whether that's an injury, he catches the flu again, he's suspended for too many blue cards, or saying something to a ref that the ref may or may not have deserved.
So with his track record, out of 5 seasons, 3 of them have been he's played at most 17 games. So with the other 2 being, almost, if not perfect, attendance on those seasons. I think still 4.
Yeah, 4.5.
I think under.
Okay.
If it's 4.5, yeah, I think under.
All right. Chat, don't be afraid to chime in with your predictions as well on these.
Are you going to tell us your thoughts at some point?
Yeah, I will. I'm saving some of these for my bold predictions.
Fine.
Okay. Some of these are all going to be wrapped up, but the game is mostly for you. See, I'm just the host. You're the contestant on it.
You're the next contestant on The Price Is.
And we can mark this and then find out if you were right at the back at end of this season. And
I hope you're keeping track, because I'm not.
Over or under 2.5 players with 30 or more points. Not goals, points.
Over. For 30, just 30 points.
Look at the roster from last year and see where they ended up.
I mean, we had 3 players that were close, or we had 3 players that were over and 1 that was close.
Mm-hmm. So you're confident we get at least 3?
A little less, but I think I still stand by that.
Okay.
Just because I can see who those 3 players would be already.
We have 24 games, so 2 of these guys we had injury questions about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask the same question for both of them. Over or under 16.5 games played for Nate and Gordy?
Not even putting Logan in there. Wow.
Logan proved he could be healthy last year, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
But, we saw Gordy get banged up, and before he came to Utica, there were some injury questions about him. Not that he didn't play the games, just that he wasn't effective playing because of his injuries.
Right.
And then Nate, we know, is coming off of major surgery.
Right.
So, yeah, there has to be some kind of question about these guys.
And, I mean, in terms of the MASL, they are older.
Yes.
Well, not even just the MASL, just sports in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've basically got somebody that was born in 90 and somebody that's born in 92. I mean, they're not much younger than I am, and I sure as heck wouldn't be able to make it out there even if I was in shape.
Yeah, let's not talk about the fact that one's barely older than me and I'm the same age as the other then. Sorry, In the Arms of an Angel was just playing as, I pictured someone being like, for our elderly soccer players.
So you're saying over under 16 games played. You said 16?
16 and a half.
16 and a half.
Do they play more than 2/3 of the season?
Do they play half a game? Yeah, I guess they could.
But look, if they play, though, that counts as one game, even if they only make the active roster and then don't get on the turf.
Does it have to be the same answer for both?
No, it could be whatever you want.
Gordy under, Nate over. Call that a bold prediction.
Okay.
And here's, I can justify it.
Mm-hmm.
So Nate, as we've already said, very cool head, very logical. He is calculating. He takes things into account when he's out there. he knows how to gauge himself out there, how to, keep himself in check. Gordy can be like the dog chasing the fire truck, and just won't know what to do with it if he ever catches it. He can be. That's the way I see him running around on the field. And I think he will just pedal to the metal all the time, which is great. Obviously we love that, but I think he won't be able to gauge the impact of maybe past injuries as well.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
All right. That's fair. All right, guys, that was over and under.
Hated it.
You have Brandon's expectations for the season, which are a lot of offense, a lot of goals given up, but a successful winning season that should net us a playoff position. Mm-hmm. Probably get to see a fair amount of the new backup goalkeeper, Babu Cisse. Mm-hmm. Offense is going to be spread around between multiple people, and they will all be fairly successful because of the high goal rate. And Gordy, unfortunately, the injury bug bites him again, whereas Nate plays it a little safer and ekes out a few more games.
Although, oddly enough, I have some thoughts about two of those things that you just mentioned that I'll get to.
Okay. Are those for your bold predictions?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, that was the one thing I did tell Brandon about before we recorded. We give 3 bold predictions each. I don't know if he has a bonus one. I do. The 3 bold predictions are specific to Utica. My bonus one is Utica adjacent because it involves the All-Star game.
So just to put it one way, 2 of mine are mine.
Mm-hmm.
One of mine is Michelle's.
Yes.
I will say which one when I put it out there.
We'll
probably figure it out.
Well, since I have 4, I'll go first. And I did put you on the spot. So my first bold prediction. Juana Lava will be a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year.
Ooh. Didn't take one of mine, but I sure been thinking it.
Going spicy. This is bold. We're going straight to that Satan's Revenge wing.
Yep.
I think Defensive Player of the Year too often comes down to looking at block numbers and not enough looking at what a player does in one-on-one situations that don't show up on the stat line. How often is this player in position to force a bad shot?
Yep.
How often is this player... It's why I'd like to see this league adopt a plus-minus stat, kind of like the NBA has.
Mm-hmm.
To where, if a defender gives up a goal, it would be because, you give them a minus because they are the closest defender to the player, or the last one beat. Now, obviously, there are some plays where that doesn't happen,
right?
On breakaways or a bad throw from the keeper or distribution that headed over everybody back up top and boom in. But it's something that would allow the league to track what defenders are doing a better job of locking down the guy that they're matched up with.
Okay.
But I think Alava starts to make a name for himself now that there aren't bigger names on defense. Nelson's in the twilight of his career. So while he may get the more physical assignment, Alava is going to be trusted to cover the more technically skilled player.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm on board.
Yeah, he was Team Defender of the Year last year. I'd like to see him get some recognition outside of Utica this year.
Agreed.
All right, let's hear your first one.
Oh, so I'll start with I'll go one of mine, Michelle's, and my other one.
Okay.
So on the subject of goalkeepers, I think by mid-season we have another one. I think we're going to either straight up sign another one or trade for another one. I have a couple in mind.
Okay.
If we were to straight up sign, I could see somebody like who am I thinking of here? Quattrell,
Okay.
possibly. You know, long shot, but possible. Um, just because I think we may need that. I think we may need. I mean, he's not like him specifically is not somebody that is like he wasn't like big in the league last year, but I know that Julian's kind of taken that spot down there.
Yeah.
So that leaves him open, and I haven't seen him anywhere. So I don't know if he's just not playing at all, or if nobody signed him. But I could see him being a potential if we need it, if we do end up needing one. If Andrew just goes in and we're able to produce all season, then fine. I'll take that one. I'll take being wrong on that. But that's I don't know. I feel, and I know it's not like a super bold prediction, but I mean, us signing another keeper from anywhere else is,
Well, I mean, if you
to me, kind of bold.
spice it up, just you give us a timeline, like before February, before the All-Star game.
I would say early February.
Okay.
I would say about early February.
So we'll say before the All-Star game then.
Yes.
Okay. All right, my second one. Nilton De Andrade. All MASL second team. I think he builds off of last season. He got absolutely snubbed last year, if you remember my little rant about that. He was snubbed as a newcomer of the year.
You rant? When does that happen?
I know. We could have a trademark, patented, copyrighted segment called Matt Rants. But 41 points. He's put his name on the map. It was I would love to go back and be able to tell you where he finished in the league in points, but I can't because for some reason all the leaders from previous seasons no longer exist, as that MASL website continues to flounder. I don't know how many times I've gone on there and it just says falsify where MASL should be, or the score lines at the top are smashed up on top of each other. So something's very wrong with the website. But yeah, all that old data is just gone apparently. So I can't tell you where he was in the leaders. But as a midfielder to have 40 plus points, over 20 goals, it deserves some recognition.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he definitely he's excelled. He has absolutely, become, I don't want to say well known, but he is one to watch anytime he steps on the field.
Yeah.
And, every single time that we go against someone, we're at someone else's arena, he comes up. I mean, obviously last season, he was in the running for top of the team or head of the, basically head of the table for Utica. And I mean, I can't see that not being the case again.
Yeah. The only reason I don't have him in the Elite Six is because I think Utica has this reputation outside of the area as, well, they just get to pad their stats against against Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And other teams get to pad their stats against Dallas, or last year they got to pad their stats against Empire, but none of the fans get to use that argument for the other guys. It's just, well, Harrisburg is bad.
Right.
So I think that little bit of poor perception and self-awareness from others hurts the team and hurts Milton's chances of getting Elite Six.
Right. Okay, that's still.
Right.
It's still bold.
You said you had one from Michelle. Let's hear it.
Yes, you're not gonna like it. Nobody here is gonna like it. Yours are a bit more on the positive side. Mm-hmm. Mine are kind of middle ground, and hers go down in the negative. We ain't making the playoffs. That's her bold prediction.
That is wild.
Yeah.
8 teams make the playoff.
I know. I've been looking.
Who does she have ahead of us?
I didn't get that far because I was just too dumbfounded. I mean, if all goes according to what we would expect,
yeah,
there's 3 teams that are almost guaranteed to be below, and that's Harrisburg, Texas, and
Dallas.
Dallas. Those are almost guaranteed to be down there.
Yeah.
So that's literally us taking that number 9 spot right above them and saying, like, we are just going to have we're going to have a bad season. It's basically what that implies.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know our defense isn't ideal. Our offense will carry us against the worst teams. And like you said, we have some padding that we can work with.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was that one hurt. You wanted wild predictions. Here you freaking go.
Yeah, that's giant Carolina Reaper crazy. Like, I like a habanero. Something that 250,000 Scoville units. I was not ready for 4.3 million.
You're eating a couple of those little nitro gummy bears, just popping them like they're candy.
Oh my God. Wow, that is wild. Because my final prediction is very opposite of that. I said Utica finishes the season with 17 wins, earning the number 3 seed in the playoffs. I have Chihuahua and Kansas City ahead of us.
Wow, not even San Diego.
Now, San Diego has taken a step back every year. Well, I do think they got the better end of the deal getting Mendez and Morales. They just lost to Tacoma, something that I can't remember them doing in recent history. And those 2 guys thrived in a run-and-gun offense, which is not what Phil Salvaggio likes to use. Now, they are getting Gabriel Costa back this week. The Kings League finished up. But he missed most of last year. Now you're incorporating him with an offense he hasn't really played with.
Yep.
And they're not younger on defense, really. Excuse me. The reason I say 17 wins is I looked at Utica's schedule the same way you did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking 4 out of 6 from Baltimore. Baltimore just struggles on bigger fields. They do. They're fantastic at home. I don't have it saved, but I put up the numbers. Like, Chihuahua and Baltimore over the past 3 years combined have like a 7-something win rate at home and sub 500 on the road. Like, they're just different teams.
They are a different team.
So even though we play Chihuahua twice, we play them twice on our turf. I think we stand a good chance of Chihuahua. Anyway, 17 wins. So I think we get I'm even being generous in this and saying we drop 1 to Harrisburg. Going 5 on Harrisburg, 4 on Baltimore. There's 9. I've got the 2 from Texas, and the 1 from Dallas. We're at 12.
Okay.
I have us winning one of them this weekend. I'm not going to tell you which one because that will ruin the predictions before we get there. 13. Split with Milwaukee when they come. There's 14. We play, 3 games against Kansas City?
Is it 3 or 2? I'm looking.
I know we have a trip
Schedule.
to St.
We play Kansas City twice.
Okay. So I think I had them splitting the season series with Kansas City. There's 15.
Okay.
And then what was the rest? St. Louis?
There is one St. Louis game.
I think I had them winning that one.
Can't remember?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I had 17. Like, I counted it out. I had 17. One better than last year. And like St. Louis, unless they change, like we've talked about it, unless they change their coach, even if they get out to an early lead, I think they get outmanaged and end up losing more games against better coach teams.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee beat Kansas City. Took some weird ref screw ups to help with it.
Yeah.
That I think really took the wind out of the sails for Kansas City on that. And as you know, we mentioned, you get under a certain player's skin on their team, and he tends to crumble like a sandcastle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. But no, I think 17 is within reach.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're going to be blowouts. I think they're going to be a tough, scrappy, hard-fought one to get there.
Right.
But possible.
It'll be a hard-fought season, but we are capable of getting that many wins.
Yes.
That's fair.
All right, what is your final prediction?
So, I think this one blows all of them out of the water.
Okay.
Even us not making the playoffs, because this has been something that has plagued us since the first season of Utica. It is something that I think will change this season, and it is a reason I wore this jersey. We will not drop a single gimmick game, not promotional game, gimmick game, not one. We're going to sweep Milwaukee. We are, since I still don't know what the era is.
I was forgetting about the Milwaukee games.
I don't know what the Era's night thing is. I know you told me already, but
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I know, but it's
still doesn't make
kind
sense
of
to me. But
to me, it's kind of a gimmick game,
yeah,
depending on what they do with it. So I'm counting that one. We win that one. St. Patty's Day, we're breaking that curse, and the Hawaiian shirt night. Those are my gimmick games. So 5 games total, 4 technically separate things. But those are my gimmick games. You know, I know the promotional schedule. I know there's other stuff on there, you know, teachers appreciation, the mascot game, but there's not a component for the players in that. Whereas the other ones are like, could potentially be, you know, we know the Riggies jerseys. We know the St. Patty's Day stuff. We know the Beat the Heat. Maybe they'll have some sort of Hawaiian shirt theme. And then
God, if they give me Hawaiian shirt jerseys, I will throw 3 weeks of paychecks at it.
Yeah, I know you will. And then the Era's night, I'm thinking maybe there's some component there. I don't know. It's just a guess, but I'm calling it a gimmick game. So I say we don't drop a single one.
Okay.
We break that curse, especially the St. Patty's Day one. We break that curse, and we come out of this season winning all of our gimmick games. So obviously, I'm disagreeing with you a little bit on splitting with Milwaukee.
Yeah, but no. Fairly spicy
Told
take.
you it was out there.
Yeah. It's specific, and I like that. So
I put some thought into it.
So those are our predictions. Michelle's is wildly in contrast, but you know, it's kind of why I miss her sitting in with us. But I understand why she doesn't want to. That's fine. Like I said, this is Utica adjacent, relates to the All-Star game.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll happen as a fan vote, but a certain player went out and got the first hat trick of the league season over the weekend. One, a former Utica player did this. It was in a losing effort, albeit, but he was a fan favorite.
Oh yeah.
And he, maybe it's the fan vote. Maybe it's look up. Keith Tozer, commissioner. I have crapped on you for a lot of things. But if you do this one thing right, 95% will be forgiven. I can't give 100%. I could give 95, and that's an A, and you should take it. Make Joey Tavernisi the commissioner's pick for an all-star selection if he isn't voted in by the fans. Look,
he would have my vote.
He gave blood, sweat, and tears for this community while he was here. He's come back to support it when he's playing for other teams. Let this man get one final appearance at Utica where he can be celebrated instead of rooted against.
I don't know. I guess I celebrate with him. I guess I don't really.
You know what I mean? We root against the team that he's on.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no. He's been a fantastic player in the league for well over a decade. Not just the MASL, but the previous iterations, whether it was Rochester, Syracuse, Utica. The man is tied to New York. Give him a proper send-off in New York.
Yeah, he deserves it. Like, he is... He puts his heart and soul into this, into what he does on the field, regardless of what team. And, obviously, he's got a place in his heart for Utica, and honestly, vice versa. We've got a place in Utica's got a place in our hearts for him. So,
if the All-Star game is what we expect, heavily offensive, they're kind of taking things off defensively. They don't want to get injured. They want to showcase the offense because that's what everyone comes out to the games for.
Of course.
There's going to be an opportunity for a backdoor toe poke, and nobody has made a better career off of it than Joey Tavernisi.
Yeah. He is the man you think about when you think of whenever somebody's like, oh man, if Joey was on our team, he would have been there.
Mm-hmm.
So how many? I mean, we've said that countless times.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Joey was here, that'd be in.
Yeah, that's as much a campaign for Joey Tavernisi as it is my bold prediction.
I like it.
That wraps up our predictions for the season. We got just 2 predictions for the weekend we got to do. Then we'll wrap it up, call it a day, because we are, once again, running very long on these podcasts.
It's a lot to talk about.
It is a lot to talk about. I may split this up and just release them separately for the audio edition. Drop one Thursday, drop one Friday.
There you go.
So, Friday game. Empire Strikers.
Yeah.
On the road. If you guys want details about these teams, we covered them last week, so we're going to do it really quickly. We're going to just give you our prediction for who wins and what the score will be.
Yeah.
10:35 p.m. You staying up for it?
Friday?
Yeah. It's on Golazo.
100%.
Not YouTube. Golazo. CBS Sports Golazo. I'm going to keep saying it so everybody remembers it.
Golazo on Friday.
Both of these games, Golazo.
Oh, they're both on it.
Yes,
okay.
they are.
So the whole weekend
it's a Golazo weekend. And
it's
hopefully
a Golazo weekend.
Utica's going to score a bunch of Golazos. So, outcome and score. What do you got?
Okay, so I am going to... I know which way you're probably going to go, and I'm going to actually go kind of the predictable route here.
No, I'm just making you be difficult because it's your second favorite team against your favorite team. So that's why I put you on the spot first.
How do you think I feel? I literally had to put out there, like, look, this is the one time that I'm rooting against Empire because I have to go with the home team. I mean, I have to go with Utica to root for. I love Empire. I love that organization. I just, in this instance, I can't, root for them, and I also don't want to see them win. Um, so I think Empire might have a little bit of stuff going against it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you changed coaching staff later than you might have liked. And it's going to be an adjustment to Obasi's coaching style,
Mm-hmm.
and just, the team looking at him as a coach versus as another player. And so I think there's going to be some things to overcome there. So I think there's going to be a little, I don't want to say turmoil, but and of course they're still missing, like you said, Castillo. Then still things have not gotten sorted out with Vanzella, although he did travel to Ontario last week.
Okay.
I did happen to see that on his Facebook, that he did travel to Ontario just about a week ago.
Maybe he's
So
just doing some coaching, which
maybe
would be fantastic help for that team if that were the case.
Yeah. But that being said, I think, just to wrap up my prediction,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a hard fought game, but I think Utica comes out on top. I'm going to say 7-5.
Okay.
Because both of these teams are a little bit more on the offense. Actually, I take that back. Empire's more defensive. So I'm actually going to go a little lower. I'm actually going to go 5-4.
Okay. I'm taking Utica in this one as well. A lot of the same reasons. Mainly, though, it's that despite all the turnover and the return of guys from the past, this was a 500 team 2 years ago. It was an awful team last year. You traded out Frank Tayu. You got Marco Fabian. You basically you lost Toth. You lost Clayson de Lima, visa issues. Goalkeeper situation, as you said, not settled by any means. You got Justin Stinson, but he was better with Tacoma last year than he was with Strykers. His 1.6 points per game were the second best of his career before he got loaned. But then he had 2.6 points per game up in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, if Utica's winning this game, you're man marking and double teaming Marco Fabian, just kind of like we saw happen south of the border. You take away him and you try to make Justin Stinson beat you. And if that's what happens, it's going to be like an 8-5 win for Utica.
Okay. Going out there.
Mm-hmm. I put you on the spot for that one. I'll take this next one first. Saturday at the Sockers. Another Golazo, another late start, 10:05 first kick here on the East Coast. Because, we just had to get the season openers on that godforsaken West Coast time zone games.
Yeah. Of course we had to.
It's the inaugural game at Front Wave Arena. Really have no idea what to expect for a crowd, considering how things have gone for San Diego the past few years, and now they're like 40 minutes away.
Right.
I'm gonna give it to San Diego just because home opener, rested, and it's not 24 hours later. They're not playing in the wrong time zone where their bodies may or may not be adjusted. Jet lag is a real thing. You see it happen in all sports. But I think it's close. I'm going to say 6-4 San Diego.
Okay. I don't think it's going to be close.
No?
At all. I think that at least some of them, are going to remember when they were in Utica the last time. And it was super close game, and maybe not I think that was the last time they were in Utica.
I think so too. If that's the exact one that I'm remembering.
And that was a game, and it was the loudest I've ever heard the odd. So I and of course we have some players that were on Utica that maybe you're going to want to, maybe they didn't leave on the best terms. I mean, I can't see how they didn't, but that we don't know everything on the back in the back of the house. So I think it's not going to look good for Utica. I think it's going to be we're going to be playing all right, but we are going to be playing tired, and we're just not going to be able to keep up with San Diego. And they're also going to be fired up because it obviously is their home opener. It's also a redemption game for them. So they are going to be pushing to do whatever they can to get their team back on track and start their season as well as their run in this new arena on a high note. So I think it's I honestly think it could be like a 10-5. I would honestly, I almost went, I wanted to say 10-3. Like, all right. I just see Boris Pardo being on point, and they just blow out the glass cannon. Okay. This one worries me. Just a little, if you can't tell.
a little or a lot?
It's only one game. That's why it's only a little. That's why this one only worries me a little bit, is because we only have to deal with it once. Okay.
Yeah, that is
it's a bold prediction.
I wouldn't call it a bold prediction. I'd call it
you call it a yawn?
No,
what the heck?
That just was poorly
I'm sorry.
timed.
Are you not entertained? Am I not entertaining you? Is the dancing monkey not doing his job?
No, man. It's just, this is my Sunday after a 7 straight day work shift. With and luckily, we shuffled some hours around at 72 to save me some time, so it wasn't a 70-hour stretch. But last night's the first time I've slept 8 hours or more in about 6 days.
What's that like?
It was phenomenal. Other than the dream where I woke up because my car was stolen.
My dogs wake me up in the middle of the night multiple times. I don't know what sleeping through the night is like.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. It was 6 o'clock last time I saw the time. Nice. No, yours isn't so much a bold prediction as a medium. You know what I mean? Like, it's something you're comfortable with, but it does have a little spice. And
yeah,
if you're not used to eat anything spicy, it might seem crazy, but we've seen what happens in this league, especially on West Coast trips. Sometimes you fly across country and are in California for 18 hours to witness a 15-5 loss.
Mm-hmm. And, that's where my head's at. I don't want my head to be there, but again, at least we only have to play them once in regular season.
Yes and no. I wish they'd come back. I want to.
Oh, I'd love to see them come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because the Utica was a rockin' that day.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the time, San Diego was clearly the best team in the league. Yep. Utica was having a very bad season. And then from the debacle that happened, birthed under review.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. The fact that people like you and I were able to look at the rules and point out the exact specific rule that was violated and how the game would have changed had it been officiated correctly led to the creation a friend of the pod, Phil Levanko, and head of officials Ryan Sigich doing a weekly show reviewing questionable calls on the field. Which there was one this week that, boy.
Yeah, actually I have to watch Under Review.
Yeah.
I noticed that it was out today. I thought it usually came out on Fridays, but I saw it was out today.
Yeah, I know. I was very confused when I got the notification letting me know that it was available.
Yeah, it's on my watch later because obviously I haven't had time to check it out. And
they explain what happened up in Milwaukee with the blue card that wasn't a blue card.
Spoil it for me.
And the blue card that got called off in Tacoma. I
do have one quick thing when we're done.
Yeah. We're headed for our sign off. So
okay, so I learned something, and I want to make sure that other people that are maybe like me didn't understand this one rule change, and that was the goalkeeper distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the past few games, we still had been seeing them, thrown across the three lines, and a lot of us, myself included, were under the understanding that couldn't do that anymore. Couldn't throw across the three lines. And then I had to dig into it more, and now I understand that dumping it into the corners is still fine. It's you can't aim it towards the goal line, basically. So it can't be somebody. You just literally, plain and simple, you just can't put it. You can't throw it, directly towards the goal line and have it cross three lines. I did not understand that at first, and then I had to go back and reread the rule. I just quickly skimmed it before and said, "Oh, they can't throw past three lines." And then I kept seeing people throwing past three lines, and I'm like, I thought they couldn't do this anymore. So now I understand. Now I'm of the understanding of how it actually is, and I don't know. I figured I'd share that little tidbit that maybe some other people out there didn't fully understand that. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Corners is fine. Goal line is not.
All right. That brings us to the end of this one. Like we said, late nights Friday and Saturday to follow Utica on CBS Golazo Network. Once again, you can watch that online through CBS Sports app, through the Pluto TV app, which you can get on your phone or on the smartphone or smart TV. That is what it is. We've talked about everything
and more.
Like, subscribe, follow, podcast reviews. We love them all. TeePublic store. Probably running out of tab if you want to get something before Christmas.
It's coming up fast.
Yeah. I think that's everything. He's Brandon. I'm Matt.
Yeah.
This is LA. Our city, I hope.
I can cut his mic off
Los
anytime.
Angeles.
I'm going to save you all
never
from
walk
this.
Alone.
Okay, bye.
Forever. Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing, go Utica City.